A surge in US equities overnight powers up Indian stocks today. Real estate as well as IT lead the charge, while FMCG and healthcare lag. Midcaps underperformed today.
Eicher Motors revs past in the first quarter. Revenue and margins along with profit expectations riding on the success of its new models. The stock gains even as analysts remain divided on its prospects.
Bharat Forge is likely to raise 2,000 crore rupees within the next few months to grow its manufacturing footprint, also multifold, even as it eyes doubling of its defense vertical in the next 3 years, says the chairman, Baba Kalyani.
And Ola Electric debuts with gains on the bourses, making it the only listed pure-play EV two-wheeler company. The street now looks forward to the unveil of its e-bike plan on the 15th of August.
Hello and welcome to Business Lunch. I'm Nisha. With me as always is Hormaz. So Hormaz, there is some relief coming in after expiry is over, and also the global market is buoying our own Indian market. So let's take a look at the Indian equities at lunch hour, and it's a steady gain on Nifty 50 and the key indices, 1% almost gain on Nifty 50, clocking around 24,340 odd levels with over 200 points gain. Sensex 2 is gaining almost 750 points at lunch hour. Bank Nifty is showing slight underperformance, but we can't complain. It's a gain of over 0.6% on Bank Nifty as well. And mid-caps too in line with the key indices, 0.8% up in trade. Slight underperformance. So the key indices definitely scoring better than the wider pocket, and therefore the advanced decline ratio higher by a small margin compared to the decline, by a higher margin compared to the declines. There you go. There is a good amount of gap, and therefore the market strength is visible. On the downside, BPCL, remember, had gained a lot on the news as well as results impact, and that is now seeing some bit of profit booking. So that's the biggest laggard, but there are only a handful of shares which are really losing in trade when we talk about Nifty 50 components. On the gaining front, some of the motor companies, like Eicher Motors, Tata Motors, are the ones which are gaining the most, along with IT as well as metals. So all around, we are seeing buying momentum today, Hormaz.
Gains across the board, and the bulls would want to end the week on a high, but then the question always is that the Nifty has been struggling around that 24,350 mark, and that is where exactly the index has been over the last couple of hours. It's not moving lower, but it's not moving higher either, so it's almost stagnant, and we still remain down for the week around 1.5%. So it's going to be another down week for the Nifty and the Nifty Bank as well. All the sectoral indices are in the green, be it auto, realty. IT is making a comeback today after the rally that we saw on the Nasdaq overnight. But a couple of stocks that I wanted to pull up, one of them was Trent, and numbers just came out a few minutes ago. A very strong quarter coming in for the company, and that stock has now hit a record high after the numbers. Now 8.5% higher, growing as we speak. 6128 on Trent. The stock now back above 2 lakh crore in market cap. Very strong numbers from the Tata Group company. That was one of them. Oil India is the other one. Positive commentary there coming in from the management as well in the earnings call. The stock is doing well for itself, slightly off the highs of the day, but still trading with gains of around 4%. And lastly, RVNL. The numbers came in during market hours yesterday. The numbers were disappointing. The stock fell yesterday and continues to see further selling pressure now. 4% lower for RVNL, almost 30% now of the record highs that the stock had made. But the focus is on the new listing, and that is Ola Electric, that made its debut on the exchanges today. The stock listed on the NSE at an issue price of 76 rupees. Sonia is here with more details. Sonia.
Well, thanks a lot for that. It has indeed been a very strong listing for Ola Electric. Debuted at 76 rupees. Now it's 20% higher. As we know, Ola Electric is India's largest electric two-wheeler manufacturer and has now hit the Lal Street, which means it is India's only pure-play electric two-wheeler manufacturer to be listed on the exchanges. Now, Ola has the highest market share currently in the space. Its market share as of June 2024 is 46.2%, which is much higher than the second best player, which is TVS Motor, that enjoys a market share at 17%. If you look at the financials as well, Ola Electric has seen a good growth in the last couple of years on the top line. The revenues have grown 88.4% in FY24, standing at a little over 5,240 crores. The company is yet to make a profit or a break-even, so the company has reported losses for the last 3 years. Specifically in FY24, the losses have been to the tune of 1,580 crores compared to 1,472 crores in FY23. Now, with this IPO and listing, the company intends to use 1,600 crores of the net proceeds for investment into research and development purposes. It's looking to expand its product portfolio, move from scooters to electric bikes as well, and it may unveil a plan of its electric bike on the 15th of August. The bigger story here is this, that the electric two-wheeler industry in India is very underpenetrated at the moment. Barely 5% of the two-wheeler market is electric currently, so the scope of growth is large. Even if you look at it, the two-wheeler industry growth-wise is expected to grow at a compounded rate of 11% over the next couple of years and expected to hit a target of $35 to $45 billion by FY28. The management is also focusing on cost cutting. In the recent interviews, Bhavish Agarwal has talked about how they are producing lithium cells in-house in order to cut their costs, and he mentioned that by manufacturing these cells internally, the company aims to eliminate 25 to 30% margin charged by external suppliers for lithium cells. So good listing coming through. Let's see how the next couple of days pan out.
Thanks for that, Sonia. Yes, a big company, and the pure play two-wheeler EV space, that is now coming to the public market as well, and with the cell manufacturing. So end-to-end captive cell manufacturing is also what the company spoke about. So post the listing, Ola founder Bhavish Agarwal spoke to Ritu Singh on his plans for the company and also the state of EV penetration in India. Take a look.
This Ola Electric story is a story of India's future. We are building India's future supply chains, India's manufacturing, India's future products, and our ambition and mission is to really build India's leadership on the global stage. So the fact that the street has liked our story and liked what we do, like the price, is a very strong positive. Price will move up and down. I'm learning the ways of the market. And we will keep doing our work. We'll keep focusing on building good business, building strong products, good products, building a sustainable business also, and hopefully creating wealth for investors in the long term. The broader story that's playing out here is the penetration story of electrification of EVs in India. 3 years ago, when we started, almost to the day, EV penetration in two-wheelers was almost zero. Now it is 6-7% overall, and within scooters, where all the action has been over the last 2 years, it is 15+%. And the scooter penetration month on month is only going up. 2 years ago, the government used to give 60,000 rupees in FAME subsidy. Now they give 10,000. And the industry, not just us, but the whole industry has adjusted very well. They've rejigged the cost structures, and the industry continues to grow with reduced FAME. I believe this is the way of the future. Slowly, the incentives will taper down as companies become more stronger in their supply chain and their cost structures to be able to deliver profit margins with probably no subsidies in the future.
Bhavish Agarwal there speaking to CNBC-TV18. Moving on then, mutual fund data for the month of July saw net equity inflows at 37,000 crore rupees compared to 40,000 crores last month. Sonal is joining us now to give us a breakdown of all the data. Sonal, record SIP numbers.
They are, but those are the gross SIP numbers. We need to understand what the net numbers are to understand what the flows in the market have really been like. But of course, the equity fund inflows, that has ebbed a bit in the month of July. Understandable, there was a lot of volatility. We had big events like budget and the start of earnings season as well. So 37,000 crore rupees, that is the number for the month of July. Now, interestingly, the equity fund AUM, it has come in at 29.33 lakh crore rupees, and sectoral funds AUM is the highest this time around, forming the biggest chunk of the overall equity funds AUM. Sectoral funds is 14% of equity fund AUM at 4.21 lakh crore rupees. So that just shows how much interest is there in sectoral funds this time around as well again. Because remember, if you look at the flows for sectoral and thematic funds, it is coming at 18,386 crore rupees, which compares with the record high number that we saw in the previous month at 22,351 crore rupees. There is a continuous interest in sectoral funds and a lot of NFOs in this space as well. So if you look at the NFO number now, in the month of July, we saw 15 NFOs which garnered 16,565 crore rupees, which compares with 17 NFOs in the month of June garnering 15,227 crore rupees. And if you look at the trajectory in terms of flows via NFOs, it has just been increasing. And multi-cap and sectoral funds, they garner garnered 13,735 crore rupees this time via just NFOs. So a lot of focus again on the sectoral funds. That is again something that a lot of experts are worried about as well. Let's talk about the other numbers. Large cap funds, they have seen an ebbing of flows, came in at 670 crore rupees versus 970 crore rupees. Mid caps have also seen that 1644 crores versus 2528 crore rupees. Small caps are largely similar, so 2100 crore rupees compares with around 2300 crore rupees. The gross SIP number, it is at a record high, 23,332 crore rupees. But as I said, the net number has been very different because redemptions have been very high as well. Hybrid funds, they have seen a big increase. There, the flows have come in at 17,436 crore rupees this time around.
That's right. Sonal, thanks so much for giving us the entire lowdown of the mutual fund inflows. Now, one of the reasons why markets sold off after the US jobs data was what was called the Sahm rule, which said that if the latest 3-month average of US unemployment is 50 basis points higher than the 12-month low, that means that US is in a recession. Now, the news is that Claudia Sahm, the author of this rule, is herself saying that her rule may not apply to the current situation. Lata Venkatesh is here to explain all of that. Tell us, Lata.
Well, the markets have recovered also because of good jobs data. The the weekly jobless claims came lower than expected. But this Claudia Sahm herself denying the rule is important. First, let us see what her rule is. US stocks tanked on Friday last and on Monday. Friday, why? Because that day the US jobs data came out and it said that the unemployment is 4.3%, and everybody started quoting the Sahm rule. What does the Sahm rule say? Claudia Sahm says that when you take the 3-month average, that this would be July, June and May, the 3-month average, if that average is 50 basis points above the unemployment low that you saw in the last 12 months, then the country is already in a recession. So what is the numbers? The 3-month average of May, June, July was 4.15 and the low was 3.6% unemployment. So clearly it's about 55 basis points or 53 basis points above the low. And so, you know, when the market tanked, everyone said, oh, we are already in a recession. Now, Claudia Sahm wrote on her Twitter line on August 8th, that is yesterday. Now, she's important. She's a former Fed economist, now, of course, working privately. And she's the author of this rule. She says that it may be different this time. And I'm quoting her. Sahm rule triggers are there, but with no recession. The Sahm rule does not account for labor supply increases. She said when she enunciated the rule, it was when job openings fell, that is labor demand fell. When unemployment is because of fall in labor demand, then the rule is triggered. But there are times when labor supply increases, and now she says that is the case. There are many new entrants into the labor force market, and that was there even in the labor data. The labor force participation went up. That's also because of the increase in the number of immigrants. In fact, she says in the current unemployment data, 50% of the unemployment is because of the rise in supply and not because of the fall in demand. And that is why this rule may not apply much. But let's not get carried away that this is a bullish statement, because Sahm, at the end of the article, she's written a piece as well in Bloomberg, argues that that is only part of the reason. Part of the reason is a fall in demand of 50%. And therefore, the US economy is past its normal and uncomfortably close to a recession. So while it may be true, it's not in a recession, Sahm herself says that it may be close to a recession.
Interesting times we live in, people quoting a rule and the author says, no, that's not the case, but then puts a caveat at the end as well. Thank you, Lata, for that explanation. We'll take a short break here. When we return, we get you the latest on the Delhi excise policy scam as Aam Aadmi Party leader Manish Sisodia gets bail. Stay tuned, back on the other side. Back with us here on Business Lunch. Now, in a huge relief for Aam Aadmi Party leader Manish Sisodia, the Supreme Court has granted him bail in the corruption and money laundering cases linked to the alleged Delhi excise policy scam. Now, the senior Aam Aadmi Party leader will be walking out of jail after 17 months. Ashmit Kumar is joining us for more on this. Tell us more, Ashmit.
Well, let's bear in mind that it was in the month of February of last year, 2023, when he was arrested by the CBI. He's been incarcerated, he's been behind bars, and that is something that weighed on the mind of the Apex Court. The Supreme Court said that keeping him inside the jail for an unlimited period of time is not something that is tenable, is not something that the Apex Court can gloss over. The Supreme Court said the fact that the bail is a right, that bail is the norm and that not grant of bail is rather the exception. The fact that he's been incarcerated for 17 years and the fact that trial has not even begun. These are sufficient grounds, the Apex Court believe, for granting him bail and for granting immediate release of Manish Sisodia. Not just that, the Apex Court was also critical of the conduct of the ED as well as the CBI. The Supreme Court noted that in October of 2023, they had said that the investigation will be completed in about 7 to 8 months' time. They had assured that the trial would begin, but the trial has not even begun. The Apex Court also noted that far from beginning of the trial, given the fact the large volume of documents in play, there are over 1 lakh digitized documents, there are nearly 500 witnesses. Given the scope of this trial, the Supreme Court said that there's not even the remotest possibility of the trial concluding anytime soon. Not just that, the Apex Court also said that the alternative, which is to send him to the trial court for granting bail, would be akin to making Manish Sisodia play a game of snakes and ladders, and that is not something that the Apex Court will allow, that would be a travesty of justice. And with these observations, the Apex Court granting immediate release of Manish Sisodia. There are, of course, a few riders. He has to surrender his passport. There'll be limitations in terms of his movement. But the big story, of course, is that after 17 months of incarceration, the former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi is set to walk out of the Har jail.
All right, what a relief coming in for Manish Sisodia. Thank you so much, Ashmit, for getting us all those important details. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. But on the other side, remember, we get you excerpts from our conversation with Olympian Abhinav Bindra on the other side, straight from Paris. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch, and now let's get you news from the world of sports. The Olympics that is underway in Paris saw India shine, bringing home 7 medals so far. Now, our colleague Shireen Bhan is in Paris and met with the former Olympian and also gold medalist Abhinav Bindra and asked him about the Team India's performance this time around. Take a listen.
Let's start with Manu Bhaker and what a spectacular run she's had.
Yes, absolutely amazing. I mean, to go back home with 2 bronze medals and a 4th place finish, it's been an incredible achievement for her. I'm so inspired and simply proud of her. I mean, from how she finished in Tokyo, to show the resilience, to show the character that she's displayed, to keep at it, to not give up, is an inspiring story for generations of Indians to come.
You know, let's talk about the big heartbreak for India, and that is what happened as far as Vinesh Phogat is concerned. And you went and met her, you had a conversation with her. You know, while the post-mortem is underway on what happened, what could have been done differently, what went wrong, what wasn't done, and so on and so forth, from an athlete's perspective, from her perspective, and someone who's dealt with adversity and someone who's you know, hit rock bottom and sort of risen up, what do you see her mental state at this point in time?
Obviously, she's devastated. I can fully empathize with her. I can't even imagine what she would be going through. You know, I had heartbreaks in my sports career, but you know what she's gone through, I can't even understand. I met her, but I didn't even know what to tell her.
What did she say to you?
No, I mean, it was just general talk on you know on life, and how life can be unfair, and you know, sport sometimes can be brutal. Did she have
an assessment of what went wrong?
Oh, we didn't even get into that. But I just went to
offer your
support to her and to be there for her, and I think that's what she needs at the moment, and I think the country must rally behind her in these difficult times. It's a very, very, very difficult period for her. Sport is hard. It's very, very, very hard, and that's why, you know, India must look at failure very differently. I think society on its whole looks down on failure in India, and I think it's high time that, you know, society and the youth of the country become more sporting in nature.
So as we look at possibly India 2036, which is the ambition and the aspiration that the government is working towards. But what you said, that economic success is linked to the aspiration of a nation becoming a sporting powerhouse.
I said it the other way, by the way.
I know you said it the other way. I'm linking the two. Some of the measures that have already been taken, some of the reforms that have already happened, but what more do you believe needs to be done by the government, by the corporate sector, by civil society to ensure that we do emerge as not just a host possibly of the Olympics, but truly as a sporting powerhouse?
I think we need more young kids to play sport. I think we're a 1.4 billion population, but let's ask ourselves the question, how much of these 1.4 billion actually play sport? And if we come to that number, we're actually not doing that badly. So we need to give more opportunities to young people to just play sport for the sheer joy of playing sport, for us to become a healthier society. We're the youngest demographic in the world, but we also need to ensure that we are we have a healthy population, and sport can play a very important role. When you get more people to play sport, when sport becomes a culture, then performances at the elite level will become a byproduct.
India's OG golden boy, Abhinav Bindra, there in conversation with CNBC-TV18. But that is a wrap on this edition of Business Lunch from Nishami and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Midcap Radar takes the action forward.